Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, which is still unnamed. I might just keep it named Melissa. Today I'm here to talk about watching our thoughts and the benefits of watching our thoughts. I remember the first time that someone suggested to me, how often do you think about what you think about? And I think that was probably the first time I ever thought about what I thought about. But it's a really beneficial practice. I know that myself included, a lot of us kind of run around not really even paying attention to what it is we're thinking about. I love the saying, the mind is a terrible master, but a wonderful servant, because it's absolutely the truth. The mind is a tool and can be used as a tool, but a lot of the times it is on its own, like kind of autopilot, and it's running the show. And there are many benefits to learning how to pay attention to your thoughts. And one of the biggest benefits that I've noticed is because it is really the thoughts that are responsible for shaping the reality that we're living in. The thoughts that run through your mind influence how you feel, the decisions you make, the energy you carry throughout your day. And by practicing watching your thoughts, you can start to shift these realities. One of the best parts of my thoughts that I like to pay attention to are the negative self-talk, or the limiting beliefs. That's such a word that's always thrown around these days, but really, I mean, that's what it is. These beliefs that we have that are deeply ingrained in ourselves, and we're not aware of it, but they become evident in our thoughts. And for me, what I've noticed, that these thoughts kind of perpetuate, and they become like little loops. And these loops are really unhelpful or unbeneficial thought patterns that we can get ourselves stuck into. For instance, let's take one of the favorite topics, money. A lot of the times, if we are out shopping or looking for something we desire, we will often automatically just think, oh, I can't afford that. I can't, I can't. Or if we see somebody doing something like a YouTube video or something that we desire to do, the thought will just kind of go through, I can't do that. They can do that, but I can't do that. But we're not really aware that that's happening. These are thought patterns that have been created over time, and oftentimes they are created from places that we're not even aware of. At some other time, I'll get into a video talking about the fact that much of what our mind is filled with, much of what our thoughts contain, come from when we are younger. They come from childhood. They come from the people that we have surrounded ourselves or been surrounded by our entire lives. And we just kind of absorb like a sponge, especially the first 7 years of our lives. But continuing past that place, we're absorbing the beliefs and the thought patterns from those around us, and we don't even realize that what we're thinking, A, isn't even true. It's not ours and it's not true. But B, we don't even realize that there's another way to think, because it's just put into the algorithm of our minds, And the practice of beginning to pay attention to what you're thinking about is a great way to begin to identify these patterns and these thought processes or strongholds that we have running through the background of our minds all the time. And I have found through the years of adopting this practice that so much of my thought patterns and my like inner voice was not kind. It was more harsh or absolutely not beneficial, but even really downright harsh and untruthful. So the benefits of this, I think, are pretty clear. First of all, I think it's pretty clear how beneficial it is if we begin to identify thought patterns that are harsh and that are hurtful. But one of the other benefits to this practice is simply the fact that once we become aware of something, we can purposely shift it. It's just the truth when it comes to whatever you want to call this, like self-help. I don't know, I guess it is self-help in a way, but for me, it's just like mindfulness or self-inquiry. One of the benefits of becoming aware of something, and the most obvious benefit, is that once you're aware, you can purposely shift it. But the truth is that you cannot do anything about anything if you're not aware of it. And so adopting a practice of just noticing what's going through the mind is going to be extremely beneficial if you are in a position in your life where you're choosing that you want to take control over it. If you, I don't like the word control though, but if you're in a place in your life that you're not happy with what you're at and you're looking for more peace, more joy, more, anything that feels better, the place to begin is with starting to recognize your thoughts. I mentioned in my first video that you're going to hear the word God very often. And I like to consider it, paying attention to the thoughts that are of God and that are not of God. There's thoughts, in my mind, what some people call the enemy, to me is the mind. I just think that's the place that anything that is going against us resides. And if we are to shift purposely our attention and intention to, something more beneficial, good, positive, whatever words you want to put in that, we should understand the thoughts that are working towards our betterment and the other's betterment, and the thoughts that aren't. So I talked a little bit earlier about, these patterns, these strongholds that we find ourselves in. And I used the example of money. And I just say that because that's the most, I think it's probably like money, relationships. That's kind of the most popular like dangling carrot that people use. And that's great. I think it's a great place to start, especially, I think God always knows what God is doing and will dangle in front of you whatever is needed to get your attention. And if at first it's because you desire something better materially, I still think it's a good place to start. I think God knows exactly what God is doing with your particular situation. So if you start paying attention to your thoughts simply for the purpose of wanting to attract something better in your life materially, that's great, because God's going to slip right in there and redirect your thoughts. But for me, as I've journeyed on this path, I've realized, because I've been in situations where I've had everything materially and I've had nothing materially, and no matter where I am, the thing that I desire all of the time is peace. 100%. That's my purpose in life. That's my ultimate desire. I want peace. I found this out even when I was like doing like my manifestation. You know, if I wanted to manifest more money in my life, when it came down to it, when I really peeled away the layers of my desire and what I wanted, it's because I thought the money would give me peace. And I'm not here to argue if money gives peace or not. That's neither here nor there. There's so many different perspectives in that, and I'm here for it all. But I know for myself that the reason why I would desire more money is because I feel like it would give me more peace, or the people around me more peace. I know that for a fact. I wouldn't have to stress about this. I wouldn't have to stress about that. And so I ultimately now know that what I am desiring is peace in all aspects of my life. When I wasn't in great health, and what I wanted to manifest or, attract me was great health, when it came down to it, when I peeled away all the layers of that, it's because I wanted to feel peace. Anything in my life that I think I want that is an external factor, or an external situation, is simply when I peel away the layers, it's because what I desire is peace. And as a human being, each and every one of us can identify with the experience of just having our mind racing so fast, spinning in these loops, spinning on whatever it is that we think the problem is. And when I have found myself in that place, and people that I've worked with, when they find themselves in that place, the thing that will ultimately allow you to really slow that down and still it and make it to a place where there's separation between your thoughts instead of them just crashing into each other and racing around. It begins with paying attention to what's going on in the mind. It's a really beneficial practice. It can promote peace, and one of the things that is abundantly clear is there's really no separation between the mind and the body, right? The mind and the thoughts that go through the mind are what produce the emotions and the sensations in the body, and vice versa. You can put your body into a certain state, say by using like rapid breath, and that can make the mind race. They work hand in hand with each other. So therefore, if you are walking around constantly with a really chaotic, busy mind, stressed mind, that's going to affect the body, producing and creating symptoms in the body, and eventually maybe even illness. And so this practice can really be preventative in a lot of ways as well. One of the most important tools, I think, is meditation. That dirty M word that people don't like to talk about. And that most people say they don't know how to meditate. But the reality is that we are all meditating all day long anyways. We are always meditating. Meditation is really just focusing. And so we are unintentionally usually meditating all day long. And that is because the mind has taken over if we are meditating on, things we don't want, on stressful situations. So this practice of watching the thoughts gives you the agency over your thoughts so that you can start to meditate on what it is that you want to meditate on. And there are different ways to meditate. There's the way that people are terrified of, sitting in stillness and, closing your eyes, and they're trying to still your thoughts. And I don't believe that you can practice meditation long enough to still your thoughts. I really don't think that is possible. But what I think is possible is to be able to become still and take your narrowed focus to watch your thoughts go through. And if you do that, like, your mind is a bright blue sky and a thought is a cloud, and you can kind of zoom away from your own thoughts and observe them as they go through the mind. And when you pinpoint, observe, and focus like that, the thoughts start to still down and things start to come into a calmer and more peaceful state within your body. And you then are meditating. But there are other ways to meditate that don't involve being completely still. You can go on a walk and do a walking meditation. You can sit by the river and watch the streams. I used to get into a meditative state when I was running. Yoga is a great form of moving meditation. You can stare at a flame and watch the flame, and that becomes a meditation. There's many different ways. And remember, we are always constantly meditating by focusing on our thoughts anyways. It's just usually it's thoughts that we don't intend on having. And so there's not purpose in them, and there's not intention in them. And they, that comes from the state of the mind being the master rather than the servant and the tool that your mind can absolutely be. Remember, your mind is innocent. It's not doing this at you. It's not doing this to you. It's just doing what the mind was created to do. It's like a computer. And it has these algorithms, and it just is doing what it was created to do. But you can absolutely, when you start to focus on recognizing your thoughts, you can teach your mind how to think in a way that's beneficial for you. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions about any of these practices or any of these topics, please feel free to reach out. It's my favorite thing to talk about. So you're welcome to reach out and I can answer any questions you might have. And thank you for sticking around. Once again, it was a couple minutes longer than I wanted it to be, but we'll see you in the next video. Bye.